Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has opened up about her faith in a new interview. Whilst she was never that religious, she said growing up, she did believe in God. However, she says she lost her faith after reading the horrific story of Josef Fritzl's daughter, saying, "Why were my prayers answered and not this woman's?" Kemi says her faith blew out like a candle. So, Katie, I know that you turned to God in your 20s, you found a faith. Did that happen as a result of what happened to you?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's hard to know what life would have been without it. But I certainly think hearing Kemi's experience, it illustrates how it's so personal to each individual and nobody's experience is wrong or right. But it was something for me that was a great comfort. It helped me make sense of life. And perhaps the people around me at the time maybe did think it was a bit of... This sounds like, yeah, and maybe desperation, because I think you do hear when people go through some kind of trauma or something life-changing that they go to faith, and maybe people thought it would be a phase for me, but it's something that stayed so present and strong in my life, and it's been a great thing for my children as well. And my family are probably... they identify as atheists, so I don't come from a religious upbringing. But it's this thing, it's this concept. It doesn't matter who your God is or what your higher power is. It matters that it's about removing an ego. It's about finding something that is bigger than us. And actually, that is quite comforting. If you're trying to make sense of, well, what is this crazy thing we call life? I find that if I'm never truly in control and somebody else is, I can kind of seek sort of comfort in that, you know?
I think so. Go on, you.
Well, strangely, I would say that I do have a faith, but it's not a fixed religion. When Mark went into rehab 20 years ago, and in AA, the AA step move, they have the 12 steps, and they have...
It's very Christian-led.
Yeah, it was originally.
Yeah.
But when you go to an AA meeting or anything like that, they now say God or whatever is your higher power.
Yeah.
And so I honestly... For me, it really did have a huge shift in my life, understanding, and I understand it more every year. Even this year has been a big year for me of understanding that, is that it's about something other than you and your ego. So, for instance, when my husband was in rehab, his higher power, something outside of his ego and his control and everything, was his family. That's how he got sober.
Anchor. That's how I see an anchor.
So these are just words. These are just words. And I think we get too caught up with, oh, well, I'm not this and I'm not that. Thing is looking outside. I say every day, and sometimes I say it 10 times a day, the Serenity Prayer. I actually take the word out, the word God, and it's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I cannot tell you how many times that's got me out of my own echo of going, oh, my God, I'm panicking and...
That's almost your form of prayer.
That is my... Now, would I call it a... If somebody said to me, do you pray? I would say, well, no, because if it's not in...
I'd say you do.
But I do.
Yeah,
because I'm looking at where I can let go, how I can move on, where do I have power, where do I not have power? So it's a huge comfort to me.
It's so interesting. I find the whole thing of religion so interesting. And I am envious of people who have faith, because I see, and I say have faith, I don't mean sort of fundamentalist Christian thing. I can't, abide all of that. But I just cannot do the Bible story. I just can't. I try so hard to find a faith, but I just don't believe. But I wish I did, because I see the solace.
But
you
but you wouldn't name it a faith. Yeah. Like, you've stayed sober for how long now?
13 years.
13 years, right? There is something outside of your ego and low self-esteem, because the two things go together.
To me, though, there isn't, though. To me, a higher power didn't stop me drinking. Willpower stopped me drinking, and not wanting to hurt my family anymore.
Something outside of yourself.
Well, it was an anchor. Lincoln and I anchor each other. I don't believe that...
I think that's difficult because it's an addiction, isn't it? It's a different thing. I think a lot of friends of mine turned to religion and found God later in life. And I was so curious to why and what was the catalyst and why they go and a lot of them said to me, because, you know, everything I do in life, I think, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And sometimes when you're not that way inclined, you can't imagine that other people think like that, that other people can have no empathy and can be that selfish. Whereas some of us, it's second nature to want to do something for somebody and not want anything in return.
Well, that's the thing, but
I think maybe
that's your values.
That's our values, and you just assume that everyone is like that, and unfortunately, people aren't like that, and they are looking for
so many
a guide.
Religious people are not nice people, and it's almost like you know. A lot of people aren't nice people who are religious, and a lot of sometimes people are pretending to be a certain way and not living this life fully because they're so worried about what's going to happen in the afterlife. And afterlife is a comfort to a lot of people. It's a fear for me. I am terrified of an afterlife because what if I don't like it and it's for eternity? and all those people who used to try and come at Christmas are going, hello, hello. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see those people.
For such a long time.
I'm happy to kind of meet you in heaven and take you under my wing. You know?
I do think you've got caught up in your kind of like your prejudice of only one thing that religion is. Like, if you're thinking at, like, you know, standard religions as we know, the Bible, Christianity, Islam, whatever, but there is a faith that you can have outside of that, and I get it.
You can murder 17 people, and then the Christian way is to forgive that person at the end. I don't agree.
I think it's just about making a choice to live a better life and to be better and not be so selfish and not do bad things. It's like when something bad happens to you, then you have empathy and you're like, oh my God, please, if that doesn't happen to me anymore, I promise I won't be a bad person anymore. That's when people find that voice in them that says, right, well, you've not been very good, we're going to punish you.
It's interesting.
So you know what it feels like, and that's
talking about it.
It's presumptuous that you think you're going to get into the afterlife. You could be going straight downstairs.
After all of what you said today on Last Telly, let me tell you, I'll be having a lot more fun than you lot up there down there.
For eternity, that heat.
Yeah, it'll be a bit hot. Anyway,